I am so excited to be inviting someone who's really inspiring to me, Shraddha. And I was looking, I found her on LinkedIn in 2021, actually. And I loved her description, which is India's first intuition expert, certified business and executive coach, author, angel investor, impacted 7,500 lives from 21 countries, keynote speaker. Rarely do I reach out to people on LinkedIn. And I remember reaching out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really like your profile. I just wrote a book about intuition and business. I just want to meet you. And when I had my first meeting with you, I had this really profound moment. It was like this epiphany. And you were in India, I'm in Canada, and I was looking at you and I was thinking to myself, this woman is my future self. And I don't know if maybe you've ever had that experience, but for me, it was just like, I want to be her. And rarely do I say this about people, and rarely do people inspire me this much. And everything you said, I was captivated and I was like, I want to be her. Not be you, but like, I want to be able to have the impact that you have. I just feel like I could talk about you for a while, but this has been years. And I finally started this Radiant Leaders nonprofit. This has been kind of downloaded through intuition through years, for like probably 3 years that I've had this. And you were one of the first people I reached out to. I was like, hey, do you want to be a speaker? I wanted speakers from all over the world, like really conscious entrepreneurs from all over the world. And you're like, of course. And it's like 8:30 right now, I think, or maybe later for you in India. But anyways, I'm so excited about your topic. I want to hear you speak, and then I'm sure after I'll have a bunch of questions too. But I'm just gonna, give you this space right now to speak about really exciting topic today. So I'll let you introduce yourself in your own words as well.
Thank you, JD, for that. And it means a lot. And I think whatever you mentioned, it was very much mutual when we spoke in 2021. I still remember our conversation. And I'm glad that you felt like that. I could inspire you to that level. But I think it's equal that there had been so many good vibes. And that's where we are here today. And that's why I said yes in the first moment you asked me to be a speaker, because I think there is so much of alignment in what both of us do. And I think here is what we are for, creating it much more for the leaders, entrepreneurs, and really help them whatever way we can, right? So about me, you've already mentioned about I'm India's first intuition expert, award-winning business and executive coach, creator of Jackpot method for businesses. We are going to talk that today. Founder and CEO of Sparkling Soul and author. I'm also a LinkedIn top voice, and I have established myself as a thought leader with 20 years of experience in leadership and 3,500 hours of coaching and training experience. I've been blessed to go on this path from the space of the corporate world to the entrepreneur world. And the transition happened in 2012. I'm sure we discussed that about me healing from cancer. So I think there's so many elements out there. And the most important aspect of the work that I do is being a national level hurdle racer. I love speed. And I want leaders and entrepreneurs to create 10x in half the time they have planned for, through the way we are going to enable them today. So really, we're going to deep dive into it, but that's what it is. And one of my fortes is I can identify a deep-rooted, deep-seated blocks in just 3 minutes of time. So that's about me. And I'm super excited to go on and talk about Skyrocket your business with ease today. Thank you so much, JD, for this. So shall we share the screen and get going?
Yes, go for
All
it. I can't
set?
wait.
Super. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we are going to do today in skyrocketing your business with ease, we have three hops that we are going to talk about. The first is now, setting the foundation, and then we are going to build the high-rise building. We all want to have the business which is skyrocketing. And as an entrepreneur, this is something that we are going to create. The jackpot method I was talking about is something which is going to be done in the build the high-rise business. Quickly, we all know that if we don't come to an awareness of where we are right now, we can't make that progress. And that's how the now is such an important pillar of our work together today. I'm going to ask you simple 5 questions. Whatever comes up intuitively is your answer. So don't go about really searching for those answers, because I'm not going to give you that time. This is also to help you train to listen to your intuitive self, so that you don't go and get trapped into the nuances of the logical mind. So first question, what are your top 3 challenges in your business? Whatever it is, you can make a note of it, you can pause this here, you can make a note of this and really go on. The second question, for how many years are you facing this challenge? It's very important to know, because sometimes in the entrepreneur world, month on month basis, we are just going around without thinking that what's my potential and what is it I am at. And I'm just dealing with those challenges day in, day out, but not really thinking that it's from how many years I'm facing the same thing. Number 3, how is it affecting the other areas of your life and body? Because entrepreneurship takes a toll. It's not a 24/7 thing. I always keep saying people that you don't have to deal with burnout, and sometimes it just happens. So that's very important as well, to know how are your relationship doing, how your physical health is doing, how your mental health is doing in the space of entrepreneurship when you're going about it. Number 4, how much is it costing you in terms of a number? Now, this is a very classic example where, as an entrepreneur, you never think about what is my potential to earn every month and what am I currently earning every month. So if your potential is X and you are earning Y, that X minus Y is the number that is costing you every month. That number you are leaving on the table, for anybody to take it. It's okay if anyone takes it, but it's your potential. Then why don't you take that number? Why don't you generate that number, which is very much possible for you? And the last question, what would it cost you for the next 10 years if you do not solve the challenges? These 5 questions are the most important awareness questions as an entrepreneur, because these 5 questions have shifted so much in my people's lives already, just by answering those and knowing that, oh, this number is at stake for me. I never thought about it like that. And because now there is an awareness, it hits hard that I need to make sure that I'm solving these challenges. So I believe you have sorted these questions very fast. I mean, I'm sure you have got the answers. Let's move on to the second hop. I'm going faster here because I want to make sure that your logical mind doesn't take over. Your intuitive self answers those questions, because your intuitive self knows what is at stake for me. Your logical mind keeps you in the trap of everything is okay, maybe step by step, we can't take leaps. All of that is basically your logical mind. I want your magical self, your inner self, your internal navigation system, your intuitive self to start working in this space and really go on creating that business that we are going to look at here right now. So let's go to the next piece, which is foundation. When I work with people, it is just not only about what is the revenue number that they want to create. It's also about the foundation. And the foundational pillars that I talk about is PIA. PIA stands for purpose, identity, and actions. If you are running a business and you don't know why you are doing that, right? You don't know, you are not aligned to your business. You are just running the business just in a haphazard manner. I'm sure there is a lot of burnout that comes into picture. But when you are doing it through a purpose, that what's your purpose of running that business? What is the difference that you're creating in people's lives? What is the impact that you are creating through your work? Whatever small, big, there's no judgment here, but obviously, what is the purpose that you can actually make the difference? Now, by serving those purpose, who are you being is your identity. Who are you while you are really serving that purpose? And then comes the actions, because what is your purpose and who are you to serve that purpose? And then what are the actions that being, that person, that identity is taking to really serve that purpose is how the things go on. Entrepreneurship, again, is more about actions, 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 all the logical actions. You set a revenue goal and you go on asking about how do I achieve this goal, without even thinking about why do I want to achieve this goal and who I'm going to be to achieve this goal. This is so important piece for your how to happen. How cannot just happen just like that. And if how it happens, it is actually, like I call it as haphazard actions. That goal to how is haphazard actions, which leads to burnout. The goal to purpose, identity, and actions is actually inspired actions that you go on taking, because you know that this is my purpose and this is the identity I'm living, and then I'm taking the actions here, right? So now foundation is also your purpose, is also your why, identity is who, and actions is how. As I already mentioned, it is also, the purpose is also your intention, and your identity is your emotion, and actions is your behavior. Another classic example, if you look at, if you're going to meet someone for the first time, how do you go on approaching them? You feel that, oh, I'm meeting them for the first time. I don't think there will be any conversation about business. So you go on with an intention to just interact and nothing much, right? But if you go on with an intention of deeply connecting with someone in the first conversation itself, like JD and I did here, that's why we are here today. So the intention sets to how you are emotionally connecting with people. What are your emotions? Are you excited? Are you curious? Right? Are you feeling connected? Or are you like, okay, let me see, the emotional shift, the emotional energy that people will show up in the behavior. Like if you're curious, you will ask questions to connect with that person better, versus if you are like, okay, fine, this is only the first meeting, there are barriers that come up because of the first meeting, that conversation that goes in. So the behavior also reflects like that, and then your energies don't match, you don't connect with each other to that level which is supposed to be. So your purpose is also your intention. Setting the right intention before every conversation is going to help you, deal with your identity in the space of your emotional levels, and it will be displayed in your behavior as well. And you never know, your first meeting could be your biggest deal cracker. And that has happened with me, that has happened with my people. I've seen that, and that's why I go on always challenging the entrepreneurs to have that intention setting in every conversation they do. It's so important as leaders that we go on intentionally having those conversations, and you never know what outcomes it's going to generate. Fine. Now, your purpose is also your energy.
Shraddha, I'm so curious what you just said. Meeting cracker. How do you define a meeting cracker? I don't understand that expression.
Deal cracker, I said. It could, the meeting could be a deal cracker, like you get the deal, you know, in the first meeting itself.
Okay. It's positive because cracker could be negative. I don't know. It's okay, positive. Okay.
No, I was saying about, I was saying the deal cracker. It's not meeting cracker, it's deal cracker. You crack the deal.
Okay.
That way. So it's positive out. Definitely.
Good.
Your purpose is also your energy. You know, what is the energy that you are exuberating and sharing with people? Your identity is also your body. You know, how are you approaching people? Are you warm or are you cold? What kind of handshake? You know, your identity shows up as a confident person, or, you know, all of that. Your body displays your identity depending on your purpose, your energy, and your movement through your body is also your actions. So basically, your foundation is your purpose, identity, and actions. And until and unless your foundation is clear, the jackpot method doesn't work, because we are not talking about raising or creating money just like that. You know, it's not about the jackpot that we consider, you know, it's by luck or by hook or crook or chance. The basically, I have always believed that every business, you know, has a potential to create a jackpot. And here the jackpot is basically the unreasonable revenue number, unreasonable revenue goal, which the business owner is not thought about. So I have always believed that every business has a potential to earn a jackpot, and every business owner deserves to live that jackpot with ease, you know, not stressing, not burning out, but yes, living that with ease. And that's why the foundation pillars are so important for the business owners, the entrepreneurs to take care of, so that once the foundation is really set on the ground completely, then the high rise building of creating those revenue numbers is very easy and very much possible, right? So that's the foundation piece. And here is a story that I want to share about myself. This is me when I was in 10th standard. I am a national level hurdle racer, and I missed my India camp by a fraction of seconds. I made a false start at the finals of the national level race, which I couldn't make it to the India camp. You know, having the India jersey meant so much for me. But when I started to work with business owners, when I transitioned from being an employee to entrepreneur, and when I started to work with business owners, specifically much more during the pandemic, and help them move, you know, and not only the Indian business owners, but the business owners all over the world, I felt that I have made it to the India camp from this side. And that's why this picture means a lot for me, because now helping the business owners across the world to transition from what they think is their goal to achieve versus really building that skyrocketing business, 10x their revenues, is giving me immense amount of satisfaction. And that's why I wanted to share the story, that I feel that I've made it to the India camp from this side. Yeah, so that's a background that I wanted to give, that why I'm passionate about businesses generating that jackpot. It's so important for me. Okay, now let's move on to the third hop, which is building the high-rise business. I was talking about the jackpot method, and we'll walk through the jackpot method here. So there will be some exercise I'm going to ask you to do in between here, because it's very important for us to really work through it. It's not going to be only listening, but we work through this piece of exercise. Now, I want to ask you, if you were to think about a number as a revenue goal for the next 6 months or 1 year, what is it that you would like it to be? Just think about that. It could be depending on the last 6 months revenue that you have had. If you're starting a new business, You can think about that, whatever way it is. And now let's make it unreasonable. What do I mean by that? Let's add 1 zeros, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, whatever you feel like to make it literally unreasonable, feeling that, oh my God, I can't achieve this number at all in this moment now. Quickly add that and see what you feel. You should be literally out of yourself feeling that I can't achieve this number, Shraddha. What are you talking about? Fine. So that's the first pillar, which is your jackpot number, the unreasonable revenue goal, which you have just got by adding a, making it 10x, 100x, 1000x, whatever you would like it to be. That's your jackpot number. And now let's look at the jackpot alignment piece. Jackpot alignment has two parts. The first part is the jackpot block, where now you know your jackpot number, but you also know that you can't achieve it. So there is a block which is making you feel in this moment that I can't achieve this number for sure. Number two is the second part of this is the space of alignment that we are going to create here now itself while we identify the blocks. So what I would like you to do is now write the blocks that you feel in this moment now, write blocks, make a list of blocks or make a list of statements. Those are coming to you right now when you are thinking about generating this number. And I'll give you a structure to write it. The structure goes, I want to generate whatever number, the jackpot number you mentioned, but this is the challenge. You know, write it in the form of X but Y. X is, I want to generate this number, but whatever challenge you can think of, whatever block is coming up right now for you in this moment, when I said make it 10x, 100x, 1000x, whatever space you feel like is going to be a big block that, you know, it's uncovering, right? It's surfacing now because suddenly there is like, I can't create this number. So write it in the format of X but Y. I want to create this number, but this is where I am. Okay. So there could be a number of things that you would find out. Maybe I don't have a team, or I don't have those many resources, whatever things that you could feel and think about making it X but Y, because this is such an important piece. Because if you do that right now, I'm going to share a technique with you for you to feel that alignment. This is a block identifying piece, and we can remove that block and really align ourselves in this conversation itself. This is very exciting for me, and I'm sure it is so much exciting for you as well. Okay. So now, once you have got the X but Y, I would like you to cross or strike off the but. You must have written like 5-7 sentences. I want to create this number, but this is the challenge. I want to create this number, but this is the challenge. Like that, if you have written howsoever number of statements you have written down, I would like you to strike off the but from there and put an and over there in each statement. So, for example, I want to create this number, but I don't have a team. So now the statement becomes, I want to create this number and I don't have a team. Okay. Now, what we have done is basically we have made two things mutually exclusive. That you want to create this number, but the other piece is not a challenge anymore. Other piece is something that you can think about and deal with. Okay, does that make some sense? Yeah. There's something that we are making a huge shift here. It's very important. Even before you are striking of the button, and I would like you to really think about each statement as whether it is a universal truth, a UT, or a created perception, which is CP. What is UT? UT is sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the rest of it is actually CP. So, for example, when you say, I want to create this number and I don't have a team, think about it that is there anyone in this world who is not facing the challenge of having a team? Right? There would be some people, right, who would not be facing challenge of a team. They would have a team. So that means whatever your blocks you are writing, it is more created perception. It's not a universal truth. Does that make sense? I know it might feel heavier, but if you really do the exercise in writing along with me, it's going to create a different kind of alignment. So first we wrote X but Y. X was, I want to create this number, but this is a challenge. That's the first step. Second step, for all the statements, we actually wrote whether this statement is a CP or a UT. UT is universal truth. It is true for everyone in the world. And CP is a created perception. It's only it is only true for me or maybe some people in the world. It's not true for everybody out there in the world, right? And when you actually identify all of the statements are somewhere CP, none of it is going to be a UT, because there would be some people who would have cracked the code, right? Which you are still wanting to crack it, isn't it? And if that is true, then it's more from your end where the block feels, which is not universal, right? And that's the block that you carry. Okay. So what happens is your created perception has become your reality. Your CPs, you have started to feel like this is real. And the more you're going to feel them real, the more you are going to feel that I can't generate this number. I can't scale at this pace. I can't take a leap in my business level. Yeah. So this is where we have to start breaking it, making it a CP, a CP, a CP, a CP, and not a UT. Because the moment you're going to tag it as a CP, a created perception, you are going to identify, or rather, I would say, you are going to receive some path to move on, to crack the code, to get that path to your revenue goal. Okay? This might feel a little heavier side. Listen to it once again if you feel like, this is getting a bit in a different mode, but this is how it works, and it has worked for so many hundreds of business owners that I've worked with, and really impacting at a very large scale through this piece. Okay, so this is what we talked about, the blocks. Now, alignment is the second part, as I mentioned about the alignment pillar. One was the block and the other is alignment. Now we have identified the blocks with X but Y. We also know that those blocks are mine because those are created perceptions. Those are not universal truth. Now let's go and do this piece, which I told you as X but Y, convert it to X and Y. So strike off the but, as I was saying earlier, and write an and over there. And now when you put an and over there, you find that your number and your challenge becomes mutually exclusive. They are not intertwined in each other. They are not attached to each other. And when you decouple them, you find that there is a pathway that's available for you to work on that Y. And then X seems very much possible. Does it make sense?
Sure does.
Yeah. So when you do that X and Y, there will be a pathway opening up. For example, I'll take a simple example of mine. When I was a new mother, I wanted to make sure that I run and go about fitness of mine. What was happening was, because I was awake during the night, I was not able to go for run in the morning or do some activity to help myself. Now, this was a very classic example of X but Y for me, where I want to get fit, but I can't get up in the morning. And the moment I decoupled it, saying that I want to get fit and I can't get up in the morning, it gave me different options. That fine, if I can't get up in the morning, can I do something about my fitness so that I can be fit? I know I want to get fit and I can't go in the morning. Can I go in the afternoon, evenings? Can I have my own scheduled time? Something I can do about my fitness, right? So that's why the decoupling helps so much. You find answers from within almost instantly, just like that. And that's why I want you to create that alignment for yourself just by decoupling those challenges from X but Y to X and Y. Right? So that's the second pillar of the jackpot method, the jackpot alignment. We did the first one, jackpot number, which is your unreasonable revenue goal. We identified the blocks, and now we have also helped ourselves align to that block, because now the block doesn't seem like a big block. It is a sortable block. Something can be done about that, which was earlier feeling like I'm stuck because of this. I can't move, right? So this is where there is a big opening that happens, and you are aligned to your jackpot number now. And when you are internally aligned, it's much easier to create it outside in the real world. And that's the trick of really creating that 10x, 100x, 1000x, taking that leap in your entrepreneurship journey. Fine. So we have so far covered the two pieces, the two pillars of the jackpot method. Now, we all know Oprah and we all know Richard Branson, right? They talk about, and that this is the second piece of getting the alignment. This is the second technique I'm coming to. I'm just sharing that many successful people who trust their intuition and use it as a tool for decision making. These are the people who have trusted their intuitions and they've built their businesses like big time. So how can you do that? This is a very simple exercise of jackpot alignment. Just look at the picture for 30 seconds and see what it's trying to tell you. I'm sure there's a message for you here. And when you start to get that message, the intuitive message that starts to flow to you, it creates a massive expansion and alignment for you. You would be getting those vibes of, I am addressing this crowd, I'm there on the podium, or I'm playing the piano and I'm really at that stage which I really wanted it to be. Whatever your message is, there's nothing right, nothing wrong. So don't worry about it. But what you can do is you can start maybe looking at anything. It could be a tree, it could be a wall at your home, it could be any picture that you find, and start to ask yourself, what is it that is trying to convey me? This is going to help you to align yourself, because the message comes very subtly, but it is very beautiful, intuitive way of aligning yourself. Okay? Great. Awesome. Now let's move on to the third pillar, which is called as jackpot magnet. Now, when you're aligned to that number, you slowly start to attract the opportunities, the better clients, the premium level clients, because the current clients won't help you to create that number, isn't it? So you start to receive those opportunities very fast because now you're aligned to your jackpot number. And there are ways where you can actually channelize into your energy for a better attraction. I'll tell you my secret. When I am on holidays, I attract so much of business all the time. I get messages from people, let's do this. You know, I want to know this. How can we get this done? How can you help me? And there is so much of alignment already because the energy levels are always at play when I am on a vacation. Nonetheless, my work is always about being at ease. So any which ways, when I'm not on vacation, I'm still taking it easy and it works out. But vacations generate more for me versus the traditional entrepreneurs. If you feel like traditional entrepreneurs will be very, very, you know, upset or fearful of taking vacations because their business might go for a toss. So this is the piece of energy. This is the piece of, jackpot work, the jackpot method, how it works, that you go on creating so much during your ease time and how you really scale your business with a lot of ease. So there are ways. The number one way is, how do you go about being a jackpot magnet? Very simple ways. Do what you say, because there is always an alignment. You yourself are listening to yourself. If you don't do what you say, your inner being is not in alignment with yourself. It will start to question your confidence. It will start to bring your confidence down if you don't do what you say, right? It's such a simple thing. Number two, speak your truth. Don't hide yourself. Don't try to fit in to the crowd by dimming your light. Speak your truth, whosoever you are. Start to share. I'm not saying that go on an emotional vomit, but definitely start to share what you feel. Have your own say. Speak your truth. Number three, set boundaries with people. It's very important to set the boundaries, because if you are available for your clients 24 by 7, you are giving them an invitation, and that's going to cause your family time at stake. You will be in burnout. You will always feel drained, and you feel responsible for answering them even in the midnight. Set the boundaries well in advance so that your energy is protected. It's very important to protect your energy. An energy map is something you should create for yourself, knowing what is my energy levels throughout the day, very high, high, low, and then identify the reasons of that. And you will find that these three are actually the reasons of drain in your energy map. You are not following it. Okay, so the ways to be jackpot magnet I've shared. Once you are aligned, you are becoming the magnet, and things are completely working out for you. And now let's come on to the last pillar, which is called as the jackpot rhythm. Now, if you know that the unreasonable revenue goal is yours because you are aligned to that number now, and if there is a prospect that you have to call, and that prospect is the biggest deal of your life, if it gets cracked, that's going to be the biggest deal. Would you ever procrastinate calling that person when you know that that number is yours? You would never procrastinate, right? And that's what is called as inspired action. You are inspired. You are not feeling like, I'm tired, I'll do that tomorrow, I'm not feeling like. Nothing of that sort happens, because you know that, okay, this number is mine. I've received a prospect coming to me. I have attracted that person, and I just have to make a call, and I know that this deal is mine, and I'm going to do that, take that action. And that's what is the rhythm all about: establishing the inspired actions, going on taking inspired actions. Rhythm also means that you can do the four pillars in a cyclic manner once again. Like you have achieved your unreasonable revenue goal, and then you go on doing it again for another unreasonable revenue goal, and you can still bring the alignment, attract the opportunities, and then take inspired actions all the time. So, here, knowing all of that, whatever work we did so far, I would like you to write some inspired actions from this conversation today. Make sure you do that and write those inspired actions so that out of this conversation, you are taking those inspired action. It doesn't just happen to be a one-way conversation. There is something for you to take away and implement in your life now. And that's it from my end. I believe it was very helpful for you, and feel that there was some value in the conversation that we just did now. And really look forward to any questions that any one of you have. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a list of these takeaways. I wrote just some points that really impacted me while you're speaking that I would just like to reflect back, because one thing I love that you said, I'm going to just read everything. You said your magical self. And I love that. I always talk about the magic of intuition, living in this other world. It's another dimension of life can be simple, or you could just step into this magical world. And I like how you're talking about the self, about that. And I talk all the time about inspired action. I love having another intuition expert from across the world, and we have the same message. Like I can sit and receive all this intuitive guidance all day, but if I'm not actually stepping in to take that action, I'm not being of service to the world. I'm not reaching my highest potential. And so I love how you use the same terms, this inspired action that I use as well. I love that. I love that you said, create an unreasonable revenue number, and then you added with ease. And I talk about this all the time as well, to live a life of abundance, and but with joy and ease. I feel like that's the highest vibration we can be, is joy. And I also write about this in my book of, my most profitable week of my year is when I'm doing these meditation retreats in silence. My phone is off, my computer is off. I come back, I turn my phone on, and that's literally when I receive the most contracts, by just sitting, because I don't know, I must become this magnet that you're talking about. So I really love that. Another thing that was super fun that you spoke about was the CP, created perception. And another guest speaker on this virtual summit, her name is Cindy Fonseca. She is a psychologist and executive coach. She created this consulting firm in Costa Rica. I call her one of my Costa Rican visionaries because she's so inspiring to me. She's on the summit. Already did a pre-record with her, and her whole talk was about perception versus perspective. It's so interesting. I'm starting to hear more of this from like really successful business coaches, executive coaches, of how vital that is. Like we stop ourselves from our own success and really just working on our own perceptions and not perceptions, more perspective of things. So I love that you said that. I'm sure you love her video, because you guys really speak a lot of the same things. Also, another thing, I have one question, but one thing I want to share with as well is how you're saying, the importance of becoming that magnet, that that magnet, is we need to speak our truth. And I'm super big on that. I'm super big on authenticity, honesty, radical honesty, just integrity with our word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. That's super big. And I just had a quote that's in front of my computer. I don't know where I got this from. This isn't from me, but I just grabbed it, and I feel like I just need to read this out for whatever reason. And it is, Our radiance shines through when we are our authentic selves and we become magnetic in our mastery. So I thought that, I don't know where I got that from, but it's
Wow.
our radiance shines through. And this is all about, the summit is all about entrepreneurs and business owners and, really CEOs and visionaries who have impact, but being authentic and intuitive and serving for a highest purpose, and we block ourselves. So my last question, we don't have very much time, but it's a brief answer, like where are our blocks coming from? Because we have, I'm sure the people who did that, we have a list of blocks of like, oh my, I like how you're like, oh, add a 0 or 2 or 3, like it's not a big deal, just like 100x your goal, like not a big deal. But like, where are all those blocks coming from?
Yeah. So these blogs are basically coming from our past experiences much more. They are also coming from our upbringing. They are coming from how life has handled us and how we have really responded to the situations. Interestingly, today, exactly this thing I have posted on my LinkedIn. There is a very, very super hit Bollywood song, मैं ऐसा क्यों हूँ, which means why am I like this? And I have answered that question today in my video on LinkedIn, which is exactly like that. Like I am an outcome of my experiences, whatever experiences, past experiences, my survival mechanisms, my thriving mechanisms, my upbringing, life handling me and me handling life, whatever way. And that's where those come from. And that's why when I said that I can identify those blocks, the deep rooted, deep seated one in just 3 minutes, I get it because intuitively, the world opens up. The person's world opens up for me, just like that. And we are able to do that together. Such an interesting space, JD, it is really, and that's where the blocks really come from. So it is all lying in the past, but then we are not our past, right?
Mhm.
We are our present. And if we are going to live like past, operate from the past, we are going to create the future exactly like past. But here we have to stop dropping, we have to stop really operating from that past to create a future that we would like. So I think that's where my intention is to cut the cords between the past and the now, so that we have a better, much better and flying future for
Yeah,
everyone out there.
my business coach always said that. He's like, okay, how many, my homework would be like, read like a good book a week on personal and professional development. Because he's like, JD, if you want to be different, or if you want your company to be different in a year from now, you have to be a different human. And I was like, oh yeah, so I have to work on myself all the time, and I still do. And I just,
Same here.
yeah, and I just love, yeah, live the present self. Like, okay, forget about our past goals. What is our unreasonable goal today? I think that's such a fun takeaway. I'm just so curious, to have impacted 7,500 lives. How can entrepreneurs do this? Because this is big. How are you able to do this?
Sorry, I didn't get that
Yeah.
question. There was
You
some
cut
mute.
out a bit. Yeah, so because online you're saying like I impacted 2,500 lives. It's like, how do entrepreneurs do this? Where do we start to be able to have the opportunity to impact that many lives?
So I've done a lot of events. I've spoken to a lot of events. I have spoken at the Chamber of Commerce's, where there are a lot of business owners who are part of those Chamber of Commerce's, and then they've reached out to me after me doing the work with them. And precisely, I don't do a speaker session, I do a workshop every time, like we did today. There's some work that goes in so that they have an actionable implementation things that they have with them, And then when they go there, go and implement those, there's a transformation, there's already happening. So that's what I believe in. And that's where the whole difference that I've been able to create. That's the piece, and that's how I've been able to do that.
I love that. It just is a nice reminder of to speak our truth, to share our message. You are definitely a sparkling soul, and you just are an example of that. And it's just people, and I remember the first time I spoke to you 3 years ago, you're just like, yeah, people are drawn to me. It's a magnet. You're like, I'm a magnet. I attract, and you probably attract like a high level of with your goals, and you've released the blocks. And I love teaching through stories and being an example. I think that's kind of the biggest impact we can have, and you are an example of that. You were one of the first people I thought of for this summit, and you're like, yes. And
Thank
anytime
you.
I'm sure I would have said, hey, do you want to speak like a couple hours from now? And you're like, yeah, for sure. Like nothing stopped you.
Definitely,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
just
Why
like,
not?
yeah, it was the easiest yes for you. I hope this video will serve the world. I hope it'll serve your clients, and any other visionaries and entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for your time today. Do you have any last, you have a lot of, you have a VIP offer too. So anyone who purchases a VIP package will have access to you specifically. So is there any last words that you'd like to share before we close out?
I think what I always feel is, as a human being, your business is your extension. That's what you had been also saying earlier, that your business is your extension, and strategies don't work unless you work. So, better make yourself work. And I think there's leaps and bounds and jackpot, which is always available in your business. And I truly believe that I have created my business like that. And I would like each one of you to have that jackpot for yourself in your businesses. Wishing you all the best.
Well, it's been such a treat. We are so lucky to have your time today, and your knowledge, and your message. So thank you again, and I hope everyone can follow you on LinkedIn. You know, follow. Really take advantage of this VIP package and have access to her offering. So thank you again, and until next time, Shraddha.
Thank you so much, Jerry. It really means a lot. I totally enjoyed my time with you. And as you said, it would have been a couple of hours later. I would have done that any which ways. So I think I feel that level of connection with you. And I feel very humble and honored that you thought about me as one of the first speakers when you decided to do this summit. So
India's
thank you so
first
much for that.
India's first intuition expert. How could I pass that up? That's my message. Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
so
next
much.
time. Bye.
Thanks a lot. I'm just wanting to click a picture with you here.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Thank you so much, Cherry. And I'll see you on the other side. And all the best for the rest of the summit. Take care and keep me posted. Loads of
Thanks.
love.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.